Hi and welcome to the FinancialFox. Today is a special episode as I will be talking to Pietro Lanza, General Manager at Intesa and also Blockchain Director at IBM. So everybody knows that IBM is one of the leading companies in the development of new technologies such as blockchain, quantum computing, AI and 5G, and different kind of application of those technologies within businesses and also our daily lives. So let's speak to Pietro and find out more about what he has been up to and the recent development at Intesa and IBM. Hi Pietro, how are you?
Hello, great, thanks. And you?
Yes, it's all fine here in London. Where are you based?
I'm currently in Milan, but I do work among Milan, Turin, and Rome. These are the three hubs that we are currently using for deploying our projects and activities in Italy.
Okay, so you are General Manager at Intesa, which is an IBM company. Would you like maybe to explain a little bit what Intesa is focusing on and what is your role within IBM?
Right. So I'm coordinating the blockchain practice for IBM Italy, and moreover, I'm leading one of our subsidiaries called Intesa IBM, which is a hub of digital innovation within the IBM group for Italy. So I'm in charge of, let's say, a double role. One is about blockchain in the headquarters, IBM Italy, and apart from that, leading one of our company in Italy, which is counting about 300 people today.
Wow, that's pretty interesting because, you know, if I think about technology, Italy doesn't really come as the first country to my mind. But apparently, you know, it looks like you are doing lots of work there.
We are indeed. Actually, IBM is still the market leader for ICT and digital in Italy, so we are still the biggest player by revenue for Italian markets, and we position Italy among the top 10 countries at worldwide level for IBM in terms of revenue. So we're doing pretty well here in Italy.
Okay, that's really interesting. So let's dive a little bit more into what actually you are doing and how are you, developing these new technologies. So obviously, blockchain is a big area of experimentation, let's say, but also implementation in different kind of business at this stage. So where are you focused at the moment? Which area are you focused with the implementation of blockchain?
So we can surely state that we are at the beginning of a curve about blockchain, and we are pretty much focused on enterprise usage of blockchain. So this is our only scope about blockchain. So we only work in permissioned blockchain with enterprise usage, as we are an enterprise software and services player. So we're not interested in cryptocurrencies or any other things apart of this scope that I just described. So we currently are working on about 50 initiatives for Italian markets and over 1,000 initiatives at global level. So we do have a pretty good positioning among all the countries where IBM is deploying projects based on our blockchain platform. If we consider the industries that are more relevant for our projects at the moment, for sure, financial services is one of them, food traceability as well, and made in Italy traceability as well, as we're working also with Italian government to try to understand and focus on the application of blockchain on made in Italy, so mainly the 3F, so food, furniture, and fashion. This is why we started up an initiative with the ministry, which is taking care of these kind of industries. On the other side, we are working on logistic and supply chain application of the blockchain. So on this On this purpose, we are in touch with the most relevant player in moving goods, shipping goods, and also producing and distributing foods. And in all these initiatives, we can record the number of stages from, let's say, business ideas definition to POCs to, in some cases, products and platforms that goes towards production. So as I said at the beginning, we are still in the initial phase, but more and more we are moving towards a maturity of these platforms and technology and business paradigm.
There is an area that I'm particularly interested in, which is finance and trade. How blockchain is going to disrupt the traditional system?
Well, if we think about the applications that we are currently working on, I can make two examples of platforms that are entirely based on blockchain that are recording relevant benefits from this new approach. One of them is WeTrade, which is one of the biggest trade finance new generation platform at European level, where we helped to onboard one of the biggest financial institutions here in Italy and one of the biggest in Europe, which is UniCredit Bank. And apart from them, there are about 20 relevant sized banks at European level using or onboarding on this platform. So one example of usage is for trade finance and to digitize and streamline the traditional paper-based trade finance process. On the other side, we're working to streamline the cross payments processes, and we do this through a platform that we call WorldWire, which is currently introducing efficiency in a market which is very non-efficient, which is, for instance, the money transfer country to country, currency to currency, which today is based on a number of actors. When you want to move some money from your country to another country, there is a very fragmented path in the middle between you and the money receiver. So through this platform, we are simplifying this path and introducing relevant benefits. And this is already working in about 50 countries, and we are now in the phase to introduce it in Italy as well. Another areas where we're working for financial services is KYC. Yeah. So many financial institutions groups are willing to introduce a group level KYC that can bring some benefits to all the, let's say, actors of a financial group. So most of them have high number of companies, for instance, the bank, the retail bank, the corporate investment banking, the long-term rental, the leasing company, and so on. And all of them today perform a new KYC anytime a customer is approaching or subscribing a new contract with one of these companies, even if belonging to the same group. So introducing a group level KYC based on blockchain, we are making it more efficient, more secure, and for sure the customer experience is improving a lot, as the customer doesn't need to repeat over and over again the same operations within the same banking group. So these are just some of the examples of use cases that we are working on in financial services industry.
So talking about KYC, come back to me, I mean, the big question about digital identities, which is, you know, is also, let's say, also a problem for Italy, because with all the refugees, you know, sometimes you need a kind of like a way to digitalize identities to make everything easier. And obviously, you know, is an issue in Italy, is an issue in any country. country, and also in developing countries even more. Where do you see the opportunity here in this space, and what work have you been doing?
Well, at Intesa, digital identity is core business because we do act also as certification authority, and we are today managing over 15 million digital identities for Italian and European citizens. So we do this as core business. So we're working on next generation of digital identity in many different ways. One of them is introducing into our country a concept of sovereign identity, and on this purpose we are today working with Sovereign, which is a sovereign identity consortium based on IBM Blockchain. So this is only one way where the citizen can get in control of his identity credentials and use them in a much more efficient way across all the service providers that are open to use this new level of digital identity. On the other side, we're also working with regulators and the Italian government, and in particular AGID, which is the agency for digital in Italy. And as certification authority, we act under the surveillance of AGID. And so AGID opened a working table about the evolution of digital identity, particularly in connection with blockchain. So we are taking part to that table as contributor and as one of the biggest players in blockchain area in order to bring our global reach and overview and experiences that we made, for instance, in Canada or some other countries where we created platforms that are managing digital identity of citizens using blockchain paradigm.
Okay, you mentioned before about the food industry, which is quite interesting because, you know, everybody knows all the good food come from Italy, isn't it? So
hopefully.
Exactly. So we have lots of organic, for example, olive oil. I mean, there is a lot of quality stuff that actually sometimes can get lost within, you know, the journey. And also this quality should be verified, should be authenticated, should be traceable. We have the problem with the milk. We have the problem with different products. They can actually be object of fraud, let's say. So particularly for Italy, and having mentioned there, what is IBM looking to do within the food industry to preserve the provenance and the quality of Italian food?
Okay. As you know, Italian sounding and fake Italian food is a big issue for us, as we have billions and billions of goods that are not produced in Italy but are sold or are in, let's say, intended to be sold as Italian goods. Yeah. So for sure, food industry is one of the industry where the traceability and blockchain brings more benefits. This is why some time ago we developed a global platform called IBM Food Trust, starting with number one in food distribution at global level, which is Walmart. So we developed this platform starting from the deep knowledge of this industry of a big player. And working with them, we made sure to have all the features needed for a global player and big player to be able to trace his supply chain until last mile. Once we did this, we opened the platform to any actor who was willing to join our path towards transparency and traceability. So today we have over 100 actors. Among them we have, for instance, Carrefour in Europe, but also big consumer goods producers like Nestlé and some other big names. So we are now in the phase to onboard the first Italian companies on this platform that thanks to it will be able to introduce a new level of transparency and traceability, not considering that some big food distribution players, like the one I mentioned, Walmart or Carrefour, in my opinion, very soon will make it mandatory to be on this platform if you want to be their supplier. So I believe that very often you won't have a choice to be on a blockchain platform to trace your supply chain. It will only be a matter of which platform, and we positioned ourselves to be the platform on this purpose. So by far we are at the moment leading this particular usage of blockchain for food traceability.
I mean, that will definitely benefit some Italian companies such as Granarolo, for example, that they are doing high quality milk. So being able to actually show the provenance of the product and show all the steps, as you mentioned, the production, the supply chain, that will add an amazing value also to their business, I believe. So I can see really a big opportunity for Italian companies, big but also small, because we know we have a lot of small producers. They actually produce really, really quality product.
Right, I do agree, and this is why we're working with big players. For instance, it's public that we had a proof of concept with Barilla on this purpose, but also with smaller and local players that are innovative or understood before others the benefits that being first mover on these matters can bring to their business. So we truly believe and encourage the food producer, the food distributor, and all the value chain to at least spend some effort in order to understand this kind of paradigm and try to understand what's the best positioning in this phase on this purpose.
Yeah, and the value they can add to the business, definitely. Finally, I just wanted to mention quantum computing, which is obviously a topic that everybody is talking about. You have made some move investing in Cambridge quantum computing. How do you see quantum developing and actually changing the current systems?
Well, you might be aware that we started to work on quantum computing several decades ago. So we are now in the phase where this kind of technology based on quantum physics is pretty stable and ready to start to be utilized and tested. So this is why we launched, and it's publicly available, our IBM Q program, which is deploying quantum power through our cloud, and it's open to be tested by anyone. As we all know, quantum is not only a new, let's say, piece of hardware, but it's also a new way to program and to manage complex problems with another, let's say, technology and another programming language. So we're now in the phase to understand with some relevant players. We have over 100 actors that joined our IBM Q program at the moment, how to use the quantum, which is not simply more power, but it's a totally different way of taking care of a complex problem compared with the current technologies and traditional computing that we are all using every day. So we do not believe that quantum is substituting traditional computing, but we believe more in a joint work where the two different ways of treating a complex problem can work together in order to emphasize the final results. So we are still, as I said, at the beginning of a path, even if we started several years ago, but there is still work to do, and we are onboarding, as I said, the first tester on this technology We are talking about big groups and even governments. It's public that we signed several hundred millions agreements with Germany, with Republic of Germany, in order to have a joint development of these technologies in the country. On the other side, we believe that within 3 to 5 years we will have markets usage of these new technologies, but given the fact that we need to also skill and train new profiles to be able to program on this technology, we encourage the big players in any industry. We're working with automotive, financial services, aerospace, and so on.
Healthcare as well.
Healthcare, exactly. To start to work today, to build up even small teams, to start to experiment, to start to focus this new trend and technology in order to be ready in the next years to use it as a competitive advantage.
So how IBM can stay ahead of the curve, you know, in comparing to the competition, for example?
Well, you should, I guess you read about the last year ranking in patents. For the 27th year in a row, IBM was ranked #1 for patents deposited last year. We're talking about over 9,000 patents, over 30 patents per day. This is thanks to our 6 billion investments in R&D that every day are available to our research centers, which are 19 research centers all around the globe. So we truly believe innovation can be and as historically be and can continue to be a differentiating pillar for our positioning on the markets, and we believe that this is keeping on positioning us at #1 in terms of innovation in any sector we work, and also above that, because it's public that we recently deposited a patent, for instance, on a new generation of batteries based on seawater and many other things, bioplastic, and really things that are cross-industry and cross-topic. So we do not have a strict limit on technology, software, and hardware, but our research centers are really working on every possible aspect of our life in order to improve it through innovation.
Okay, Pietro, thank you so much. There is a lot we can carry on talking about it, but maybe we leave that for the next interview. Thank you so much for your insight, and I will hope to have you soon on our show again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
It was a pleasure joining you.
Thanks.
Talk soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is everything from the Financial Fox. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and I will see you next time.